everybody, to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show featuring Dr. Carolyn Dean. Join Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty. Join Dr. Dean as she shares with us her vast range of experience, knowledge, talent, and wisdom. Phone lines are now open, and we'll be taking your calls from around the world and here in the USA.
Everyone. Oh, hello. Yep. Welcome, everyone. Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean here on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, as we like to say, uniting humankind with universal love and uniting the world with our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean, one of the most powerful and prolific doctors, naturopaths, and generally all around compassionate, amazing people that has ever graced the face of this earth. We are so happy to be here with her this evening. This is Ginny Sanders, also known as Ginny Almighty, and I'm getting a little feedback, Rachel. I'm not sure where that sound is coming from, if you could check. But we're so happy to have everybody here with us tonight. And I have to say that if you're tuning in for the first time, you are just going to love this show and it's just going to become one of your favorites. It'll be on your podcaster or your YouTuber. It'll be on your email calendar. You will use every means necessary to remind yourself that this show is going to be on and you are going to want to tune in. We have a beautiful community of people here who are engaged and interested in one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself and your body, and that is to use nature, to cooperate with the ecosystem that we live in, to use and rely on the power of the own intelligent design of your body, to use the biomechanics of your body to advance yourself, to sustain your health, to create your world, and to nourish and support your family. And of course, the kingpin of all that is our very own Dr. Dean, who has been doing that successfully, both as a doctor and a naturopath, as I previously mentioned, but also not just that, as a public health advocate and as a consumer of her own wisdom. And with the kind of, silliness we see in the world today, isn't it fun to see a straight shooter, a straight arrow, somebody who really walks their talk and lives the life that they profess should be lived and encourages others to do the same? That's who we're talking to tonight. So let me tell you the nature of our show. We do take all calls, 646-558-8657. That ID number that you need to access the show, and the show number is in all of our literature, our YouTube channel, which we hope you're joining us on YouTube. Feel free to access that, call into the show. We will talk with Dr. Dean for the next 2 hours. She's going to give us her thoughts on one of the most important topics and something that is so misunderstood. Tonight's topic, hypothyroidism. People barely even know what the thyroid is, much let alone hypothyroidism. They get it confused with so many different aspects. She's going to straighten it all out for us tonight. We're going to take your email questions. We're going to take your phone calls, and we're going to have a lot of fun in the process, because another thing that Dr. Dean knows probably more than, if not as much as anybody else, is life is supposed to be fun and full of joy, and your health is a harbinger of that same joy. So without further ado, let me say that this is not a medical advice show. We can't give medical advice per the FDA, but what we do is we tell you what we would do. Sometimes I say my words, but mostly it's Dr. Dean saying her words about what she would do if she were in your situation. And of course, she's been in that situation many times because she's been a human being on this earth for a long time, and she has a body just like you do. So we'll bring her on and talk with her soon. Without further ado, our very own, most delightful, most lovely, most accomplished CEO, fearless leader, formulator, herbalist, acupuncturist, author of best-selling books, our very own Dr. Carolyn Dean.
Yay. And there are the children, which is my signal to come on. Thank you, Ginny. Yes, I was a little bit distracted for a minute there, and then I started looking at the dozen or so questions we have. So today's show is about the thyroid, and it's very popular. It looks like a lot of people are suffering from the epidemic of thyroid imbalance. So we're going to address that, but I want to go over some of our housekeeping. Haven't done that for a few weeks, been so busy with everything else. But what you know about this show is the worst is over. We are here. And another thing that we say quite often is that the scientist rigorously defends his or her right to be ignorant of most everything except their own specialty. So what happens in the science of medicine is the various specialists in medicine just focus on one thing. They don't look at anything else. And that's going to happen with the thyroid as well, because if they just focus on the thyroid, they're not looking at your adrenal glands, they're not looking at the sex hormones, they're not looking at the pancreas. So they just focus on medicating your poor little thyroid. So we'll get to that. And another saying we have is that we've educated the common sense out of people, because very often the answers that I give to people who call in and ask are just very common sense. And the final saying that we often go into here is what Bob says: everything has basically disappeared. So once everything has disappeared, we are on our own. And we've said that many times as well. We're on our own, but you have us as your backup. We're not your doctor. We're not your mother. We're just folks who have information. We know things, and we pass on that knowing. And housekeeping wise, we want you to be aware of our subscription service. You can be on auto ship, so you never miss a day of your very important minerals, which you should treat as food, minerals, and your vitamins, actually. We want you to keep referring your practitioners so that they know about our products and they can recommend them to their patients. I ask you what you would have done if you'd known about these products 10 years ago when we started out. You'd be a lot further along, so you can help other people to be further along as well. We still have referral candy, which gives you a 15% discount when you refer friends and family. And we want you to get your blood testing done. We'll do a whole special on the blood testing, the home blood test kit. It's just a simple finger prick. You don't have to go out to a doctor to get a prescription and write a check for a copay. You just get this test kit mailed to you. You squeeze out a few drops of blood. Well, it's more than a few, but squeeze out some blood on these cardboard circles, mail it in, and you get results of blood tests that will help you decide what amount of supplements that your body would love to have in order to keep your health and keep your immune system. And our magnesium deficiency survey, it's Ginny, it's close to 300,000 people who filled out this survey. And people don't fill out surveys unless they're learning something from it.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps us motivated because we find that insomnia and anxiety are around 70%, muscle cramps 60%, restless legs 55%, heart palpitations 50%, tension headaches and migraines around 40%. And to us, that's proof of magnesium deficiency. And if we can encourage people to take magnesium, especially the right type of magnesium, which is our Remag, which is fully absorbed at the cellular level, and which we're proving in our scientific university research studies, at our website, drcarolyndeanlive.com. At the top, you'll find a link to our first paper in the journal Nutrients. The paper is called Circulating Ionized Magnesium as a Measure of Supplement Bioavailability. So you can say until the cows come home that, oh yes, you need your magnesium, but then you'll take one that isn't absorbed well. You'll take one that acts like a laxative, and you'll say, well, enough of that. And then you'll think, well, let me see what else I can take to get rid of these symptoms. However, if those symptoms are magnesium deficiency, nothing's going to work except magnesium. I think one of the biggest questions that filters its way to me through customer service, 99% of the questions are taken care of by our incredible customer service team now. But the ones I get, they end up being people who just aren't taking enough magnesium. If you think, well, the Remag really isn't helping me like I think it should, perhaps you should just take more. The second thing that's happening, especially in our heart patients, is they're not taking their picopotassium yet. Even though we've said you have to have your potassium, make your potassium broth, eat enough vegetables, people just aren't doing it, aren't able to do it. You need a lot of potassium. And with the picopotassium, you can get the right type of magnesium, well absorbed, that will work with your Remag. So I think that's enough housekeeping. But that was fun. Anything to add to that, Ginny?
That was fun. Well, let's remind everybody who does turn into the radio show that if you do want to participate in our grassroots health blood testing kit process, those kits are sponsored by Dr. Dean at no charge. And that includes our radio producer and our radio station owner, Deborah and Rachel, who I know are listening. You'll want to take advantage of doing this, and especially after you hear today's show on hypothyroidism, because the thyroid is a very important part of your body, and some of those symptoms overlap, right, Carolyn? The heart palpitations and different things. So we really want to straighten out where you are with your magnesium deficiency. Your vitamin D plays a role, your TSH, as Carolyn mentioned. Number one, that test is sponsored by Dr. Dean. You have to email customer service at support@rnareset.com and say that you want to take advantage of the radio show offer for the free testing kit, and they will help you. Second, we have had some of our customers who've been in that, and they want to do a mid-baseline check on their vitamin D level, and Dr. Dean generously went ahead and got those. So if you need that second vitamin D check, you've got to check on those too with customer service. Am I right about that, Carolyn?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, because this is research. We can say this is the research we're doing. We'll develop statistics from it, and at the same time, we'll be able to help our customers decide scientifically how much, as I said, how much of the supplements they should be taking. And I know it's a real divergence from my previous stance of avoiding blood testing. And it's because I didn't know the lab, and I didn't believe that they were looking for optimums. They were just testing the average of the people that walked in to the lab. Grassroots Health is finding out among the tens of thousands of people that are doing their testing how their symptoms are improving when they increase their supplements and as their blood levels improve, finding out the dosage and the blood level that is optimum. And that's what was missing in regular blood testing, and also finding out not just one supplement, but how they're all working together. They've found out already that vitamin D doesn't work as well if their customers aren't doing magnesium. And there's something about vitamin C being something they want to test next. So it's an ongoing research that will help all of us. I've told the story many times. I won't quit telling it, even though Bob tells me not to repeat myself so much. But my original vitamin D was 19 nanograms per deciliter. And so I took 10,000 units, and 5 months later, my level was 53. And the optimum range, according to their grassroots health customers and tens of thousands of research studies, it's advisable that we have blood levels of vitamin D from 40 to 60 nanograms per deciliter. If men and women are trying to treat and avoid breast cancer and prostate cancer, they're much better off being around 90. These are scientific facts. So I'd rather go with the facts at this point in time when our health is under great strain and stress. So there. Right, Jenny?
Yes, Carolyn, and let me say this too. This is a great opportunity for our international customers. Somebody just beeped in on the chat line and asked me if this test kit will go to Canada. Yes, we can send it internationally. Now, you have to send it back, of course. But we're happy to do that, because here's another thing. People who are always wanting to get the Magnesium Rbc test up in Canada couldn't get it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so this very same thing can be done in Canada and different parts of the world that we service with our customers. Of course, makes sense that we would do that. And you guys have to send it back at your own expense. But yes, and certainly we want you to participate. Very, very good question. Thank you for pointing that out. Outstanding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so then we'll go on to Ginny's blog of the day that came in to remind us what our topic was about. And that's important, because then people will let us know their questions. So as I said, we've got a dozen questions, and they're all great questions, and we'll get to them. And the blog it's a detailed blog, and it is important because even the fact that we have a dozen quick questions, within a couple of hours of sending out the blog, means it is an important topic. So it's called Understanding Hypothyroidism. So it's an underactive thyroid gland not producing enough thyroid hormone to keep the body operating efficiently, and you end up feeling sluggish and low functioning. And it's very common. And here are the symptoms. What do you do when you suspect that you have a thyroid imbalance? For starters, you can see if you're experiencing 3 or more of the following common signs of hypothyroidism. I suppose, Ginny, this would be another great questionnaire, wouldn't it? Like our Magnesium Deficiency Questionnaire. And we're also doing a yeast questionnaire. So this would be a very good questionnaire for people. The signs and symptoms of low thyroid include having a yeast infection or yeast overgrowth. Now, the reason why that happens is because your thyroid controls the temperature in your body due to it controlling body's metabolism. So if your metabolism is slow, your temperature is low, and you gain weight and you feel sluggish. Yeast grows better in a cooler environment. So the cooler your body, the more yeast will grow. So they do go hand in hand. And I know myself, that was my first sign of the Remite working, and Remag is part of it too. To support my thyroid, is my hands and feet started to get warm, and they'd always been cold, even though I was on 60 milligrams of Armour Thyroid. Number 2, weight gain or difficulty burning calories, and that's the low metabolism. 3, body temperature regulation, metabolism, again, stomach and digestive issues, including acid reflux and bloating. Now, that can be part of the slow down metabolism, and also yeast overgrowth. And then there's depression, which comes along with number 6, feeling tired or fatigued. Yes, you can follow along with this blog at drcarolyndeanlive.com. It also would have come in your email today. It's a great blog to forward to friends and family who you may have noticed have these symptoms. Number 7, sleep apnea, which can also be associated with low cortisol due to the continued hypothyroid state. Also low heart rate and heart palpitations. Now, this is getting into magnesium deficiency. They go hand in hand. This is why you can't separate organ symptoms, disease symptoms, nutrient deficiency symptoms. They all go hand in hand. The big one I've always felt with thyroid is thinning and brittle hair. I just recently, one of my friends up at the farmer's market, I got her taking Remite because she said her beautiful hair was falling out. And after a couple of weeks, I seriously noted the difference. And she said the same. She said, after 2 weeks, it stopped building up in the bottom of her shower. And then a couple of weeks later, she noticed it felt a bit thicker. And that's huge. It's huge when your hair falls out. I definitely went through that stage with my thyroid. Number 11 is Raynaud's syndrome. That's the painful blue and red fingers with exposure to cold. Now, it can be a condition on its own. I know it's related to magnesium deficiency and the circulation in the small capillaries where when you are magnesium deficient, the blood vessels kind of clamp down, the muscles in the blood vessels just go into spasm and your circulation is impaired. And also with the Raynaud's and just the cooling of the extremities with the slower metabolism. So again, you've got magnesium deficiency and thyroid deficiency, thyroid hormone deficiency. There's polymyalgia, number 12, in the symptoms of hypothyroidism. That's muscle pain and stiffness around the muscles of the shoulders and hips. Constipation, when you have a slow metabolism, things back up. There's also brain fog and memory loss. That is also part of yeast overgrowth. There's dry skin. Now, of course, we tell people with dry skin that they really need to hydrate. You have to drink your water. You have to take your body weight, divide that in half, drink that many ounces of water a day, and in each liter, put a 1/4 teaspoon of a good sea salt that still has some color to it, so you know the minerals are there. And also, you can hydrate with our Remag lotion. The Remag lotion will be another month or 2 coming to you, but in the meantime, you can spray your skin with Remag liquid or spin up some Remag liquid with your favorite body cream. It might not stick or stay together. It might separate. That's been the problem with the people trying to make us a better Remag lotion. And the next symptoms, number 16, muscle cramps. You can even get lumps in the breast, either the fibroid in the breast or calcifications in the breast. There's brittle nails. Now that's more mineral deficiencies, but it's listed commonly with hypothyroidism, skin problems, hives, psoriasis, and eczema. Now, hives, they can be allergic reactions that relate to yeast overgrowth. So does psoriasis. One of the toxic byproducts of yeast is a chemical that zymogen that can irritate the skin and produce psoriatic-like lesions. Eczemas, they're related to yeast overgrowth as well, and allergies. Number 20 is a hoarse voice, and that's when the thyroid that's in the neck region grows. When you get a little bit of a goiter, you can get a hoarse voice. 21, cold hands and feet, we've talked about. 22, scalloped tongue. Now that's where your teeth at the sides of your tongue sort of indent the tongue. And that's more related to yeast overgrowth and, bit of a swollen tongue. 23, sex hormone and menstrual issues. I said at the outset that when the thyroid is low, you have to look at the adrenals, sex hormones, you have to look at the whole picture. And that will lead to number 24, low sex drive. 25, chronic infections and the immune system is compromised. Now, what's interesting there is the immune system requires iodine, and iodine acts in the cells as if it were like a hydrogen peroxide that kills infectious organisms. And if your iodine is low, it means you're not producing enough thyroid hormone, because it's one of the 9 minerals that's required to make thyroid hormone. So if your iodine is being grabbed by your thyroid to try to make as many thyroid hormones as possible, then it is not going to be working to help support your immune system. So you're going to have immune system problems. And the last one is headaches and migraines. And we all know that's a big magnesium deficiency symptom. So that's our symptoms. People can, in the chat line or YouTube, type in if they've found they have other thyroid deficiency symptoms. So the next part of Ginny's blog is talking about the screening blood test, and it's through Grassroots Health. It's the TSH test. The 4 tests are TSH, magnesium, red blood cell, omega-3 fatty acids, and vitamin D. Now, TSH means thyroid stimulating hormone, and it's put out by the pituitary gland to push the thyroid if the thyroid hormone is getting low. So this is a type of test that when it's high, it actually means your thyroid is low. So don't get confused about that. You want to have a TSH below 2. And you can read up on that. Actually, I haven't even mentioned, we do have a thyroid book, Reset the Thyroid Connection. That's a free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com, and you can find out all about the thyroid and sort of further the knowledge that you're gaining here today. So we're saying here in the blog, with your symptoms and your blood tests in hand, determining the most likely culprits will help you address the causes of your condition and move you into recovery. The most common cause of hypothyroidism is mineral deficiency, and the second most common cause is yeast overgrowth. These 2 conditions disable the thyroid from functioning properly, creating a perfect storm that leads to autoimmune diseases like Hashimoto's and chronic mineral deficiency. Slowing the effects of Hashimoto's and chronic mineral deficiency starts with removing inflammatory foods. That's your glutens and your sugars. For some people, it's dairy products as well. So gluten, sugar, and dairy. And then you introduce highly absorbed minerals, to restore the immune system and allow the thyroid to produce thyroid hormones. Okay, so let's just go over the minerals. There are 9 of them that are required. It shocks people when I say that, and because most people believe that iodine is the only mineral for the thyroid. But within the last several years, it's become apparent through research and biochemical evidence that there are 9 separate minerals involved with thyroid hormone production. The iodine is part and parcel of T3 and T4. So it's safe to say that the thyroid can't function without iodine. Selenium, it's the next in the cascade of biochemical reactions that occurs on the way to making the thyroid hormone. Selenium is a necessary cofactor in the production of T4, and it also converts T4 to the more active form T3. A total of 11 selenium-dependent enzymes have been identified as necessary for thyroid function and thyroid hormone production. If you take iodine, especially the high amounts that some doctors are recommending, without selenium, you can cause selenium deficiency and all the side effects that come from selenium deficiency. And if you take selenium high dose without iodine, you can cause iodine deficiency. They both are required to be used together. So that's important to know. I mean, I rail against the people who are talking about taking 50 milligrams of iodine when the RDA is in the microgram range. So yes, I'm always counseling people to cut back on iodine, just take the RDA that's in Raynaud and create the balance that the body requires. The next of the 9 minerals is zinc, required for the synthesis of the thyroid hormones. Thyroid hormones are essential for the absorption of zinc, which puts it into a loop. And I found that the hair loss that's attributed to hypothyroidism may not improve without zinc added. And that's why it's in the Raynaud. Molybdenum is a mineral that's in the oxidative system of thyroid cells. They also play an important role in T3, these enzymes, T3, and it's released from the thyroid gland. And molybdenum helps to break down yeast toxins. So without molybdenum, yeast can overgrow and then cause the temperature imbalance that yeast seems to cause. Boron helps the conversion of the storage form of thyroid hormone, which is T4 to T3. And copper plays an important role in the metabolism of the amino acid tyrosine, which is a precursor to T4. And tyrosine is part of the vitamin C complex. So in order to get your precursor to T4, you need to eat a bit of fruit a day, take our whole C reset for the tyrosine component. Chromium enhances insulin activity, playing a role in the regulation of insulin release and its effect on carbohydrate, protein, and lipid metabolism. And conversion of T4 to T3 is influenced by insulin. So in a roundabout way, chromium helps this conversion. Manganese is required to transport the hormone thyroxine into the cells. And last but not least, calcium and magnesium must be balanced in the body to ensure proper thyroid function. If there's too much calcium, thyroid hormones can become diminished. Magnesium is a regulator of calcium absorption and utilization. So there we have it. The two best things for the thyroid are therefore Raynaud and our Yeast Management, which is our Flora Revive, which is our antifungal probiotic, and Pico Silver. So that would be our thyroid bundle, Jenny, right there. Raynaud, Flora Revive, and Pico Silver. So let me stop and ask Ginny if she wants to add anything, and then we'll get to the blog questions.
Well, I just want to add that, as you said, by the number of questions, it's a pretty hefty topic. Also, we have a lot of people, new listeners on YouTube, and we want to welcome them to the show, as well as those who are coming through the Dream Vision Live radio network and affiliates. Thanks for tuning in. And Carolyn, I had to go back through your Total Body Reset for the Thyroid book yesterday and read a lot of information and re-encounter it. And I know we've talked about it over the course of the years, but I was just surprised to see how much this Hashimoto's autoimmune disease feeds into the thyroiditis and hypothyroiditis, and how that is really an immune system, which is also important for vitamin D. And that really just made me think of that grassroots test kit and all the things that we have in it, and how really amazingly complete our products are. And once again, how brilliant you are. But I mean, it's just really incredible to see that when you do have a compromised immune system, what does happen to your various organs, glands, brain, heart, now thyroid, and how many overlapping symptoms there are that really do get so effectively addressed through our mineral products.
Right. And thank you for bringing up Hashimoto's. I don't know if anyone has asked a question about Hashimoto's today. So let's go to that. I'm turning to Total Body Reset for the Thyroid. It's version 4 as a free download at drcarolyndeanlive.com. We're going for version 5 soon because we have our new products to add, our omega-3 fatty acids and Flora Revive Light, for example. But today, looking at Hashimoto's thyroiditis and Graves' disease. Graves' disease is hyperthyroidism. And the way I addressed those, because I didn't want to write a whole book on those, was 2 popular thyroid books that you can go to if you want to read more about Hashimoto's. That's Isabella Wentz's book, and The Thyroid Connection by Amy Myers. And Amy suffered from Graves' disease, apparently, and Isabella Wentz, who's a PhD pharmacologist, she suffered from Hashimoto's. And what I say in my free book is that both authors discuss the need to find the root cause of thyroid disease. They recommend a gluten-free diet, balancing gut flora, stress reduction, and immune support. Dr. Wentz says most patients with Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism will have weight gain, acid reflux, nutrient deficiencies, anemia, leaky gut, food allergies, and adrenal insufficiency. Symptoms of impaired digestion, absorption, anxiety, chronic fatigue, and environmental allergies may be seen as well. And I do note that in the book, in Appendix B, my book, I list 80 symptoms of hypothyroidism. And I continue on in the book. I agree that thyroid patients may suffer all these associated symptoms, but it's not necessarily because of thyroid disease itself. And I talk about total body meltdown and how the thyroid is affected by yeast overgrowth and the glutens and all the rest of it. And what I realized from reading Dr. Wentz's book is that she was actually suffering from yeast overgrowth. and magnesium deficiency before she finally was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. So it's not a matter of, how should I say this? What Dr. Wentz didn't know is that her yeast overgrowth and her mineral deficiencies finally caused her thyroid to be blocked and backed up and then attacking itself to cause Hashimoto's. It was like the final straw that broke the camel's back. And then she thought it's all about Hashimoto's. And in a roundabout way, avoiding gluten and avoiding sugar, etc., you're on a kind of yeast restriction, and you're going to be able to help your thyroid, but it's much simpler than they're making it out to be. So you get my point that a lot of people, including, very respected and very bright doctors, miss the fact of yeast overgrowth and magnesium and mineral deficiencies. Nowhere did they say there are 9 minerals that support thyroid hormone function. And then we get to the topic of iodine and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. We get this question, every week that doctors are saying, well, if you have Hashimoto's, you can't take iodine. And what the situation there is that you can't take iodine alone, but you can take the RDA of iodine, because you need iodine for a lot more things than just your thyroid. You need it for your immune system. And what you need is iodine and selenium and molybdenum and copper, all the minerals that I told you about. So you can read through this whole section on Hashimoto's, Dr. Wentz's health story. I have it all laid out. Read about iodine and Hashimoto's, and how you can, take care of yourself pretty much, so that you know the things to avoid, the things to take. There's a lot of words here. I won't go into anything more about the Hashimoto's. I think I've made the main point. Then with Graves' disease, what happened with Dr. Myers, she's a medical doctor. In her second year of med school, she started having anxiety and panic attacks, quote, out of the blue, terrible insomnia, muscle weakness, and weight loss. Now, the anxiety and panic attacks, and insomnia, that's going to be magnesium deficiency. But then it did go into hyperthyroidism. You can get Graves' disease, hyperthyroidism, from major stress. In med school, I just got kind of mild IBS. That was my stress disease. So when Dr. Myers developed a tremor, she finally went to a doctor who brushed her off and said it was just the stress of medical school. She insisted on a full workup and was ultimately diagnosed with Graves' disease. They gave her a drug, propylthiouracil, PTU, that caused toxic hepatitis, and she had to undergo thyroid ablation with radiation. So they killed her thyroid. And with Graves' disease, we don't treat anything in customer service. We just give people resources. But Graves' disease can often be very significant with its symptoms. You can actually get heart palpitations when your metabolism is so sped up with all this excess thyroid hormone. So you have to treat it, very carefully, very medically. We would never suggest that our products will treat hyperthyroidism, but I do give information that Dr. Myers also gives about herbal remedies that you can take along with your medication, etc. So I think I'll leave it at that because all the information is in the book, and you know it's a long, well, it's not that long a book. It's about 60 pages once we take out Appendix A, which is a description of yeah, it's 90 pages. So it's not a big, long read, and it's an important read. And in there, I do talk about the adrenal picture as well, how the adrenal glands have to be supported when you have um, thyroid insufficiency, I call it. So I have a section called adrenal fatigue and thyroid insufficiency. So anyway, golly, it is a huge topic. Let me get to some of these questions because they are going to answer people who have thyroid questions. So I'll try to be quick about this. Kathy is asking, can the thyroid heal? My endocrinologist states once we start using pharmaceuticals for thyroid disease, our thyroid glands will be dependent on those drugs for the rest of our lives. Now that's what we were kind of told in medical school, but let me be the first to tell you that when I started doing my own clinical trial, personal clinical trial on Remite, it wasn't but 6 weeks before my hands and feet were warm. I was getting a little hyper, a little sped up, and I realized, oh my gosh, my thyroid's kicked in. Seriously. And I come from a family, four daughters, everybody on some sort of thyroid medication, mother and daughters. I was on 60 milligrams of Armour Thyroid, and going against doctors' orders, my own orders, I just stopped the Armour Thyroid, whereas I should have weaned off it. But I was fine. I stopped the Armour Thyroid. I still have nice, toasty, warm hands and feet. And, years ago, I used to make a big deal of it. When I'd shake someone's hand, I'd say, oh my gosh, your hands are cold. Mine are so warm. I didn't say that, but it was just so obvious to me, when people were low thyroid and their hands were cold and a bit sweaty. And I was just so happy that mine weren't. So my thyroid was not dependent on the Armour Thyroid that I'd been taking for years. And we haven't really done a survey. Maybe we will get to the point of surveying our customers to see how many people get off their thyroid. And we don't suggest you get off it and then start the Remite. Never stop your meds. When you take our products, we want them to boost your body and get everything all lined up. And then under your doctor's supervision, you wean off your medications if your body no longer needs them. Second question, how might hypothyroidism and magnesium deficiency be related? Can you talk about iodine, selenium, magnesium, etc.? So I've done that. What other ingredients does the body need to produce more thyroid hormone when TSH is high? So I've done that. What does it mean when Remite throws off electrolyte balance, worsening magnesium deficiency, despite taking Remag rather than balancing electrolytes? Now, I don't know what who is it, Jan means by that. Remite is very low potency minerals. It is really, they're well absorbed, so they are going to be clinically active, but it will not throw off electrolyte balance. So if Jan is listening to this, she has to get in touch with us to redefine that question, because Remag will not throw off electrolyte balance. What I do say, and maybe this is what Jan's referring to, is if you're taking 2 teaspoons of Remag, then you want to be taking 1.5 of Remite. If you're taking 3 teaspoons, you can still take 1.5, but if you're taking 4 teaspoons, I'd want you to take 2 teaspoons of Remite. So you kind of do a 2 to 1 in terms of teaspoons. So Vlad is saying that his latest TSH was 1.13. Judging from this test result, he asks, is it likely I have hypothyroidism? He says, I see the normal range is 0.32 to 4. What other tests can be done in order to determine what's going on? I do have low energy and occasional arrhythmia. So Vlad, the TSH is perfectly normal. Under 2 is perfect. When it's low, it means it doesn't have to be high to push your thyroid into working harder. And in terms of low energy and occasional arrhythmia, I would ask how much potassium you're taking, because that's the next mineral in line for heart and fatigue. So who is this? Wendy's asking, if you're currently taking thyroid meds, T3, T4, and want to supplement instead, how does this transition work? Or is it a sudden stop of meds? So I explained that, transition off, take your Remite and Remag until your body warms up, and you can do blood tests as you go along to see if your TSH is going down to normal, under 2. Laileen says, I have hypothyroidism for a long time. My doctor prescribed Armour, 60 milligrams. Listening to your information, yes, you had a problem with thyroid too. Very interested in your minerals. Do I need to buy your book first? No, the book is complimentary at drcarolyndeanlive.com. I'd love to avoid the prescription pills. Thank you. Yes. So you've gotten enough information, Lillian, to answer your questions. And Suzanne is saying, is there any way to completely use any or all of your products to eliminate hypothyroidism? After starting on Remite, I was able to reduce Armour, but would love to not take any drugs. Currently taking Remag, Remite, Recalcia, zinc, and potassium, along with other natural substances like iodine, D3, K2, and B supplements. Now, the iodine may be a problem there, Suzanne. You may be pushing certain aspects of the beginning parts of making your thyroid hormones, and then they get caught up or stuck. So personally, I would wean off the iodine. I'd move to our D3K2 and our Realign for natural methylated and food-based B supplements to make sure you're not taking anything synthetic. And you can always be in touch with customer service to fine-tune that bit of advice that I just gave. Oh, here's a Hashimoto's. Sonia says, I have Hashimoto's. I take both Synthroid and Lyo-threonine. Now, that means that Sonia's in the hypothyroid stage of her thyroid inflammation. And she says, I want to be able to take iodine, but every time I try to take it, I immediately get severe insomnia. You should not take iodine, I would say. The severe insomnia can be the body, the heart rate, the metabolism being too stirred up in the first parts of making more thyroid hormone than necessary. She said, I was told by a natural oriented doctor that it's because my body is so in need of it. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. Too much iodine will throw off your thyroid hormones. She said, I'd appreciate hearing any ideas of what else I might do to increase my thyroid function. So it's a matter of reading the book, Reset Your Thyroid, and Total Body Reset for the Thyroid, and re-listening to the words I've already said, Sonia. And what's this? Perfect topic for me today says, it's a long one, so I don't know if I'll get through it. Claire, and she said, my TSH went from 8 in September to 15 in January. So I began taking Lugol's iodine religiously for those 4 months at a doctor and naturopath suggestion. And coincidentally, I became less religious in taking my Remite, which may have been serving my thyroid well since early 2017 when I discovered you and your awesome minerals. As far as I know, I did not have thyroid issues in 2017. Now for 1 week, I've been taking thyroid tablets, which have made a huge difference in my ability to function. I'm off iodine, back on Remite, and my doctor will recheck my thyroid and check my thyroid antibodies in a month. Any tips for thyroid support and supplementing? So basically, yes, weaning off the thyroid, perhaps taking 2 teaspoons of Remite and 3 teaspoons of Remag, taking some Realign to detoxify. And I should just say that thyroid antibodies is a way that they do follow Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And there's all kinds of research about when you control yeast overgrowth, when you get rid of gluten, so many things will reduce your thyroid antibodies. So that's important to look at in the book, my book, Reset Your Thyroid Connection. Can you please discuss thyroid and heart palpitations? So this is a long one as well. And it's basically that when you have too much thyroid hormone, it increases your metabolism and it will drive your heart to just gallop more than it should. And the last one, someone is asking, who is it? Diane, asking, what should the range be for thyroid in a blood test? Seems to be many different opinions. Please give all the relative numbers. Well, the range is the range of the T3, T4, and free T3. So you want to be in the mid to upper. The blood test that we use to give a screening of the thyroid is the TSH, and it should be under 2. That's where you start. Because if you're trying to if you're trying to just follow your thyroid hormones and you're not looking at your TSH, then you can run into problems. 1 more minute. Medication versus surgery. Peggy saying, if you have thyroid that isn't producing properly, why would they just not remove your thyroid? Now, this is a terrible question. You do not remove organs just because they're not playing fair. So basically, Peggy, listen to this first hour of the show again, read the book, see how necessary your thyroid is for so many things, and do not think that you can remove something because it isn't working. That is not our philosophy at all. Over to you, Ginny, top of the hour.
Excellent, excellent. Let me just remind everybody, we'll start taking calls as soon as we come back from our commercial break. 646-558-8657. It's on the screen at YouTube. It's in your email. Use the ID number. Come on in, chat with Dr. Dean, and we'll be right back.
We'll be back with Hour 2 of the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with host Ginny Sanders, right after this brief station break. You can also get updates and resources online by visiting drcarolyndean.com. That's drcarolyndean.com.
Did you know there are 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency? Magnesium deficiency is a public health crisis growing in scope and proportion. Dr. Carolyn Dean, author of The Magnesium Miracle, has identified over 65 health conditions associated with magnesium deficiency, 100 factors that lead to magnesium deficiency, and 24 reasons why magnesium deficiency occurs. Order The Magnesium Miracle today at Amazon.com and learn how to remedy this pervasive condition.
Do you have questions about your health? Are you wondering about alternatives? Do you ever wish you could have 5 minutes with a doctor you can trust? Someone who is an internationally recognized authority in the field of natural medicine? Meet award-winning doctor, naturopath, and best-selling author of The Magnesium Miracle, Carolyn Dean, MD, ND. Hear a wealth of information designed to empower listeners and callers to discover how to improve health, vitality, and well-being through a variety of safe strategies and nutritional options. Dr. Carolyn Dean Live. Shows can be heard every Monday, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern, with weekly live shows, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network.
Natural health, vitality, and well-being. Yes, everyone wants it, but not everyone is sure how to achieve it. Dr. Carolyn Dean's Completement Formulas are more than just dietary supplements. They're whole foods and picometer minerals designed to complete your nutrition, not just supplement it. Experience the difference Dr. Dean's formulas make. Visit RNAreset.com to learn more. That's RNARESET.com.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. With more than 40 years at the forefront of holistic studies, Omega is known the world over as a trusted source for integrated approaches to personal growth and social change. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Return now to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show, along with her host, cohort, and good buddy, Ginny Sanders. Phone lines are open during live broadcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. We're just so excited we can't get our music to stop playing. It just wants to play and play and play because everybody's here celebrating the good fortune of being with Dr. Dean on this wonderful platform, Dreamvision 7 Radio Network. They give us the opportunity to have our live call-in radio show and our YouTube live, and we podcast, and it's just so much fun. We really, really appreciate all their support of this very important message that you are in charge of your health, and your health freedom is your conscious responsibility to take charge of your body. You gave it to yourself, you created it, and here you are with it. And now with a little imbalance here and there, but as Dr. Dean has showed so elegantly, even through this first hour, marshaling through this complex topic of hypothyroidism, that it's only complex because we don't go back to the basics of the very intelligent design of our bodies and how it was created to operate in this beautiful ecosystem of nature, and how minerals and vitamins are at the basis of all our health, vitality, and well-being. And Dr. Dean knows how to get that message out so profoundly, so quickly. And even in the first hour, one of our very new and most wonderful listeners and participators on our YouTube channel said, "Oh my gosh, I just did not have any idea that my sleep apnea could be related to my thyroid." And it's like, yep. And so she had a big aha moment. Thank you, Dr. Dean. And we're welcoming everybody back to have their aha experience with Dr. Dean as well this hour. How are you doing, Carolyn? Dr. Dean? Dr. Dean? Oh, where did she go? She's here somewhere. And she probably zoomed in and then had to go zoom out, and then she's back, and now we have to unmute her. There she is.
Hey.
There you are.
Yeah, Bob and I were chatting in the break, so I muted myself, and my cell phone froze, so I couldn't text you. I emailed you. But you said the neatest thing in the world. You said sleep apnea instead of sleep apnea. You created a whole new word, sleep apnea.
Sleep apnea. That's funny. That's great. That's
great. It is great. Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, well, let's take some phone calls again. 646-558-8657. And you guys, this is my favorite part of the show, because every single week, and I've done this show now for almost 10 years, maybe 8-9 years, without fail or exception, Carolyn always says something I've never heard before. She's so creative in how she approaches people individually. She listens very intently to what you're going to say, and she really focuses in on all modalities. It's not just our products, but she'll work with total biology, which is the emotional conflict basis of disease. She'll work with herbs. She'll work with homeopathy. She'll work with everything. She'll work with her intuition. And it's just fun to get to listen to the exchange. People walk away truly, truly encouraged and supported. So 646-558-8657. The ID number is 8836953587. It's on our chat line. It's on our YouTube. It's in our emails. Be sure to call in and talk with her this hour. Okay. *9 on your keypad once you come into the show, so we know you're here and we can put you on the line with Dr. Dean. *9 raises your hand on our computer board and lets us know you here, and then we're going to put you on the line with Dr. Dean. And we do have some wonderful new callers this evening, so we're going to add them to the call, but we have to go in order, so hang in there, Alan. We're going to take our first caller now at area code 248, *6 to unmute your phone, area code 248, and come on in and talk with Dr. Dean this evening. Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
This is Denise.
Aww.
And this is so funny because I was just having information about the thyroid all day today, and then I got a email from the doctor about the seminar they were having, and it was all filled up. And I said, "Oh, darn it!" And then I called today just to sit to hear what you're going to say. What are you talking about? Thyroid. Oh my gosh! I said, this is exactly what I needed. All I had is a quick question. I've been having a horrible issue, with hair loss, especially on the top of my head and the front and the edges, and they're just basically gone, And I know I always thought it was because of the blood thinners and because of the beta blockers, but I'm off of all those things, and it's been 3 months. So I figured, oh my gosh, and then I found out that my thyroid was low, and thank goodness for the Raynaud, because when I went back to do my last blood work, it was actually better, but I don't know the TSH4 was high, so I'm still working on it. My thing is I'm taking 3 teaspoons of Remag, so I'm not supposed to take 2 teaspoons of Remite, and I'm taking 2 teaspoons of potassium because my potassium was very low. That was another thing that was low on my blood work.
Well, I can tell your thyroid is improved, Denise, because you're talking up a storm.
Oh,
You know, you're on a roll. You know, you've got the energy. You're doing good. So yes, what I say about the Remite, about 1.5 teaspoons to 3 teaspoons, is just a general. But when you've got obvious thyroid symptoms, hair loss, when your blood tests are showing a higher TSH, 2 teaspoons is fine. So you're good.
okay.
You're
Okay,
fine. Yep.
Oh, good. That's what I wanted to know because I was going through having these, how do I say this, getting really upset over the hair loss. And there was a 7-pound weight gain. And I'm like, well, what happened here? I was doing really well. So I'm
Right.
just glad. I just want to make sure I'm taking your products well because I'm taking them just like they're real medicine. And see, I don't have a thyroid. I had it removed. So therefore, I have to make sure that I'm unfortunately, like some of the other people who can get off of it, I've just, but that's okay.
I know, yeah. You're doing good. And, when you go through the transition of getting off the meds, it does take 3 to 6 months for you to detoxify, get rid of all that crap, think of it, the roots of my hair are clogged up with all these toxins. So
Right.
I've got to wait for them to grow out and be removed because, they do hair analysis and they find out there's, heavy metals and drugs, all kinds of things in the hair. So our hair is pulling kind of pulling out the toxins. So you hear what I'm saying.
Right,
It's,
right.
yeah, you're just getting rid of stuff that's been in there for a while and your body's readjusting. And the thing about weight gain around a time when you're kind of detoxing is toxins will be stored in the fat cells. So it's
Okay.
like, I'm not going to give up these fat cells because as soon as these fat cells are all squished out, all the toxins are going to come and be in my blood and I'm going to feel them. So I'm going to let that happen really slowly, which brings me to ask you, Denise, how much Realign are you taking?
I just started Realign after all of this time. And actually, I put an order in for your whole seed as well. And I was wondering, do I need to get the zinc? Because I don't have any zinc.
Uh-huh. Well, zinc, golly, zinc is the big hair mineral.
Okay.
Did you? I said that today. So
Right.
yeah, right. But Realign for sure because that's your B vitamins and that's for the toxins and the B's are good for the nervous system and the worry and the anxiety. And then there's 2 amino acids. The taurine is good for the heart and for the eyes.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. You love us, don't you? You love us.
Oh, good, because I got everything. I just put the order in for the whole C, and I didn't put in the zinc yet because I thought that the Remite had the zinc in it. I didn't know if I should.
It sure does, but if the hair is such that it's still, not growing back in as well as you want, then you could have the zinc on hand. Just, take a 1/2 teaspoon a day in with your other minerals. Some people they'll take it with food because it can, cause it's strong. It might cause people a little tiny bit of nausea, but because you're used to it with the Remite, you shouldn't have a problem, but just to say. And then the zinc is going to be important to have around. Heaven forbid, if you're exposed to any viruses, you just start taking that zinc. Look at my total body immunity book, Denise. It describes, what to do with the zinc if you get exposed. Okay?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I will do that. This is such a blessing because I said, Lisa, I know God is hearing my prayers and answering them because it's just ironic. I've never gotten an email about thyroid, and here you're talking about thyroid the same day. So,
Yeah.
so I thank you guys for all your support.
Oh, you're welcome. And I'm probably talking about it in a way that, is kind of better for you because it goes along with all the other formulas you're taking. It's not going to be, otherwise, if you'd gone to your other doctor, well, I'm not your doctor, but if you'd gone to your doctor's thyroid, you would have been calling next week, say, well, here she said this, and what do I do? And now I'm worried. And, I just started my real line and I am feeling less anxious, but I'm still worried. What do I do? That would have been you next week.
I have made up my mind that I wasn't going to worry about it. Your products are my medicine, along with eating healthier. And that's just what I'm looking at now.
Praise the Lord.
Amen. Definitely.
Denise is saved, Jenny. She's saved.
I appreciate you guys, and you guys be blessed now.
Oh,
thank you. We are. We are. When folks like you phone in, it's just so much fun. Thank you, sweetheart. Bye-bye.
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 I love her. Love her. Thank you for calling in, Denise. All right. Very good. Let's press on with one of our new caller. Not new, always on the chat line with me, our very blessed and most wonderful Alan. Hello, Alan. *6 to welcome yourself to the show, okay? *6. There you are. Hello.
There I am. Hello, Dr. Dean and Ginny. Thank you for listening to me for a minute or two.
Okay, Alan.
I did the grassroots test about 3 months ago, and my TSH was 2.4. Now, that wasn't the green, but you were mentioning 2 earlier.
Yeah, 2.4 is nearby, but then we ask you how long and how much Raynaud are you taking?
I'm taking a teaspoon and a half of Raynaud for a long time. I don't know exactly how long, but it's probably, I don't know, at least 6 months, probably longer than that.
Well, if it were years, I'd say, well, maybe 2 teaspoons. If it's only for 6 months, it takes longer than that to really turn things around. But I mean, do you have any other concerns about your thyroid, Alan?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with my thyroid. But I was taking the Raynaud anyway. I mean, it did lower my PSA went down for some reason. I don't know if that was the Raynaud or the Realign or the magnesium or the zinc or the silver, but or the vitamin D.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And who cares as long as it goes down?
It's all good. The only other thing I'm curious about, I never thought of asking this to you, but since I'm on the phone, I had a kidney stone about 60 years ago. It's stuck between the kidney and the bladder ever since. Now, we're pretty sure the kidney stone's made out of uric acid because I had some analysis done. Is any of the supplements that you could think of that would dissolve that while it's where it is?
Yeah, the Raynaud does help with uric acid.
The blood levels of my uric acid are fine. That's the weird part.
Yeah. How much Raynaud are you taking, Alan?
Also a teaspoon and a half. And on the grassroots test, I got a 56. Is that good?
That's very good. Yeah. But if you want to dissolve something, I would go to 2 teaspoons. But
no problem.
Yeah. That was easy. What about the symptoms? Do you feel that stone? Heaven forbid.
No. They found it by accident when they did a. I mean, I felt it when I had it originally, but I haven't felt it since 3 days after I got it. The doctor, of course, insisted that it disappeared, but I couldn't believe it. And but they did an MRI for the because of the high PSA, and in the process they found where that stone was all this time. It obviously has a hole in it, or I'd be in some sort of pain, I'm sure.
Well, just look at it as your friend. Don't think of it as a bad thing.
I'm not worried about it. They want me to remove it. I said,
no.
If it's not bothering me, I'm going to leave it there.
That's smart. That's really smart, because if you looked at x-rays of 100 people, you would find who didn't have any symptoms, who would never otherwise gotten MRIs or x-rays, you would find so much stuff, and it's not bothering them. It's just,
Right.
coincidentally people have a symptom, they'll find something, and then they'll do all kinds of dramatic things that just can make things worse. But I would increase the Remag to 2 teaspoons, and
I will do that.
yeah.
And I want you to know your show is fantastic. I just it's just unbelievable, and your books, I love all of them.
Oh.
And you and Ginny, you are all the best.
Oh, well, that's very sweet. We appreciate that, Alan. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for hearing me.
Okay.
Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome.
Yes, Alan, and don't be a stranger. We love people to call in all the time, and the better we get to know you, the more we could talk about fun things like your pets and your hobbies and all the things that you're wanting to live for, right? Like, what's the point of having great health if you're not living an awesome life, right?
That's true. Very good. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you,
love. Thank you. All right, everybody. We're going to keep rolling with these phone calls, and we encourage you to call in too and enjoy Dr. Dean and her wonderful wisdom. Again, 646-558-8657 is the number, and the ID to get in 8836953587. I think we're going to have to do some kind of a jingle, right, Carolyn? Like a hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special orders won't upset us. Kind of like one of those things with this phone number that just doesn't seem to want to go away. So
either that or it'll give us sleep apnea.
There you go. Sleep apnea. That's right. All right. So anyway, let's go to area code 512-512. If you could hit *6 to unmute your phone, we'll bring you on with Dr. Dean. Hello and welcome. If you could give us your name and then state your question or comment.
Yes. Hi, Jenny and Dr. Dean. Thank you so much. This is Noni, and I'm calling in from Austin. It's the second time I've called in. I called in, I want to say, a month or two ago, and I was asking for information for, what to do with Candida. And I remember at the time you were telling me to take just a capsule or an ounce, 1 teaspoon of the magnesium. So that's what I've been doing. And I have all your other products except for vitamin C and the Recalcia. So I'm using all the other ones. But when listening to the call today, I realized, wow, there's a big range in how much people are taking. And I've only been taking what's on the bottle label.
Yes.
So I have Candida, and I have a lot of symptoms of low thyroid. And so because of all the bloating and constipation recently, I started taking oxygenated magnesium, which will work for moving everything, but, it's not the right consistency. And so now I'm thinking, okay, I really need to get your advice on how much to take of your things. Yes. And I eat pretty healthy, no gluten, just a little bit of fruit and, like blueberries and some apples and stuff like that. And,
Okay. So with the yeast that we talked about, and did you look at my yeast overgrowth book, Reset the Yeast Connection?
I didn't. I haven't read your book, so obviously I need to do that. And the other thing I wanted to just put in when you're giving me advice is I started taking some thyroid and adrenal glandulars recently too, just because I was feeling, like desperate. And I had recently started taking iodine, and now I'm, I felt really, really off today. And I thought, okay, I probably shouldn't be doing the iodine. So anyway. Okay,
Noni, you just sit back. You don't even have to take notes. You can re-listen to this because it's archived. Okay. So you tell me your age, if you don't mind.
Almost 75.
Okay. So with the yeast, we do have a yeast book. I have 22 free books, so I'll be mentioning several of them. In the yeast book, we have Yeast Management, and it's to take our Flora Revive, which is a probiotic antifungal, and Pico Silver, which is antifungal and does a million other things.
Okay, so I already take those 2, but just the bottle amounts.
Yeah. And the diet you're on, with the Remag, that may be the underlying, I won't say it's a problem, but 1 teaspoon, which is what we have to put on the label. FDA doesn't want you to give dosage more than the RDA. So that's why we have this huge customer service outreach to tell people, well, you're probably going to need 2 and 3 teaspoons if you're going to get to situations of, chronic fatigue and even yeast and even thyroid and even adrenals, because the magnesium takes care of 80% of known metabolic functions. So that's where you start. And if you just, slowly increase that, about putting it in your water and sipping it through the day. If 2 and 3 teaspoons is too yucky tasting, get our vitamin C reset berry powder, which just makes it taste delicious. And instead of I'm not going to tell you stop the thyroid and adrenal glandulars, but glandulars are like taking medicine. They will, kind of make your thyroid and adrenal think that they don't have to be active, and they will suppress it. We were told in naturopathic training never to do glandulars more than 3 months at a time, and that should be the same for drugs. Don't do them for more than 3 months. So, you'll get yourself into a bit of a spiral if you're medicating symptoms instead of looking at the overall picture. The overall picture is basis of Remag. I had to take 4 teaspoons for a year and a half before I could get my levels up, for my heart palpitations, etc. And I'm not a big person. So probably 3 teaspoons, and then the 1.5 of Remite. Doing your Flora Revive and Pico Silver will probably work better on your yeast if you're doing the more Remag. When you read the book, you'll find out, I've been doing this and that, and I shouldn't. Sugar is bad. I'm sure you're not on sugar. And then, instead of going to the oxygenated magnesium, you're just going to increase your Remag. And you don't want to have a laxative effect because it'll just pull out your minerals.
Right.
So it's, it's going for treating your symptoms instead of looking at what's the basis. And I've explained that. So you're all better now, right?
Okay, so moving towards 3 teaspoons of magnesium and 1.5 of the Remite. And then what about for the other things? Like I'm doing 1 twice a day of the Flora Revive. Is that what I should stay with? Okay, so that's good.
Yeah.
Right? And
correct.
then I'm doing the Realign by the label.
2 a day,
Yeah. And what else is there that I've left
the
out?
Pico Silver.
Potassium.
Oh, potassium. Yeah, you might have to work up to 2 teaspoons of potassium.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so gradually increase these, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, you want to open up the cells to it instead of, alarming them and overloading them. And the Pico Silver, I'm just wondering, you might need 3 teaspoons a day of that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that can you move up faster on?
Yes.
Then, okay. So that could be right up right away.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so I just started on the glandulars like a week ago. So could I just sort of drop them out? And as I'm increasing this other?
I hate waste. I mean, you could take, 1 a day just to use them up. Don't waste them. They're not dangerous in that sense, but they could be supportive. They're, and we don't eat, what do they call it? Sweetbreads anymore. We don't eat organs,
Right.
And that's all they are. And if we were eating organ meats, we probably wouldn't have as much thyroid and adrenal problems. But then,
all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can't guarantee that these glandulars are perfectly free of,
Right.
radiation and heavy metals and everything. That's why I don't go for them. Same reason I don't go for herbs. I'm very,
Mm-hmm.
very worried about herbs that aren't organic. I'm looking
Yeah.
at turmeric now because it's so huge, but how can we know it's safe? And it just so happens that my farmer here is growing turmeric with our mighty mash, so that could be something that we'll be looking at.
Mm. Okay.
It has to be clean and safe, otherwise there's just no point. I've had telephone clients in the past when I used to do that tell me that they would, go heavy on. One woman went heavy on green tea because she heard it was so good, and then she got so sick, hair falling out and everything. She had it analyzed, and it had arsenic in it.
Mm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
how do we know
Very
any of
concerning.
that? Yeah. So
Right.
anyway, is that enough for you to go on, Noni?
Pretty much. I want to just clarify then the silver, I can go the full amount right away. The potassium slowly work up to. Same for the remite, slowly work up.
What are you on now?
Well, 3/4 of a teaspoon, just because that's the label, I believe.
You can go to 3/4 twice a day now. Because
Okay.
it's very low potency. It's effective clinically, but it's not like Remag where we're doing high doses and it can overload your cells if you don't sip it through the day and go slowly.
Okay. So the magnesium's the most important to go slowly through the day.
Correct.
Okay, that's important. All right. Yeah. So I should be able to work up to that pretty quick as I drop off the oxygenated magnesium, right?
Correct. That's right.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we can turn the ship around.
Oh, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And I must say that you could switch your numbers around, and you sound like less than 57 and not 75.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I've been doing a lot for my health for many, many years. So that's probably why.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And I'm glad you found us.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your help.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Noni.
Bye.
Outstanding. Another wonderful call. Very informative. Love it when people ask all those questions, because then we're able to help so many people with the answers. And of course, as per always, learning something from Dr. Dean. That was great. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Everybody on YouTube saying, great show, great show. Now listen, if you're on our YouTube channel, I'm so happy. I would love for you to share it right now. Just hit that share button and send it to a friend or a family member that you think would love to benefit and would benefit from hearing this information. Also be sure to hit the subscribe thing and the little bell that gives the notification so we can remind you when the show is every week. And you can continue to join us. Let me see a couple questions on the chat line from YouTube, and also a great report from Joanna, who emailed us from BC, your beautiful home country of Canada, up in that wonderful area. She said she has a positive testimonial to share. She's been tolerating crazy hot flashes since the end of August, and she started taking 2 Realign a day. Her hot flashes have all stopped.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Wow. That's wonderful.
That is so fantastic. What a fun thing. And yeah, I think that's very exciting. Now, another thing, Carolyn, we haven't really talked about, but we can talk about it now, is our very good Lorraine Andrus has finally gotten everything organized, and we have our Remag only, up in Canada now for permanent distribution to Canadians, from Canadians, with a bilingual label for the Quebecois, and a natural product number, and every other good and perfect thing that Canada requires in order to distribute our products. And we're very excited about that. Lorraine, if you guys remember, is at True Health Canada. I'm going to give you the name of the new website. Well, you can just go to truehealthcanada.ca, and that's going to help you get her website, and she is up there with our products and able to distribute Remag and in unlimited quantities, which has always been the big thing, getting them over the border. You know, you can only have 6 at a time. Well, now you can have 600 if you'd like. I mean, you just have as many you want of the Remag. And then as soon as we finish our little process, as they say in Canada, process, then we'll get our other products up there, and we'll continue to expand. But it's very exciting. So all of our Canadian customers, be sure to hit up Lorraine, and you can get your Remag from her. And of course, if you're buying mixed products, what you might want to do is get your Remag from Lorraine and then get your other products from us. And that way we could send you even more. You know what I'm saying? As far as, because like people usually in Canada, they like to put in their order, and we're limited to how many we can send. Well, now you get your Remag up there, and then you can get more of our products down here. So it'll all work out for you beautifully. And if you have any questions on how to do that, of course, call the wonderful team at customer service, because they will help you with everything.
Totally good. Great. Yes. And that helps on shipping costs when you order in bulk and not ordering one at a time. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Right.
Very, very exciting. And then the other thing is, Patrick is asking about giving his Pomeranian NA RNA drops products. And our daughter, Greg's daughter, Savannah, has a little Pomeranian. Her name's Sugar. You've met Sugar, haven't you, Karen?
I have met Sugar. She's quite the character. Just very, sort of proud and dancy and, nose in the air, just like a true Pomeranian, right?
Yeah, she's pretty hilarious. Yes, you're right. So she's a tiny little thing. And to tell you the truth, it says, I wonder if I could give him Realign Vitamin C and Flora Revive. I don't know if they require vitamin C. We did talk about Flora Revive last week as far as yeast overgrowth. And I am not sure about Realign. So Patrick, I would want you to, well, actually a B vitamin I think is okay but the dosing would be very small because their body weight is so minimal. So I think you would probably have to talk to your vet about those things. Just shoot a quick email to your vet and see what they have to say.
But with the Remag, that you do say about 10 drops in a gallon of water, and then you let the dog decide how much water they want to drink. Is that right? Yes,
and he's already doing the minerals in the Pico Silver. I don't have, that's not a problem in the water. Yeah, that's perfect. It's just those capsules, how to break up the dosing, and then how to, based on that body weight. That's what I would want to know. So I think maybe talking to the vet, but then let us know what you find out, because, we like to pass that information along. And one of our great customers said, what about making Remite lotion? What do you think about that?
I don't think so. There's no way of knowing how to dose that, the amounts that you need. With Remag, we just know people need a lot. And we know the fail-safe is the laxative effect, even if you're scattering it all over your skin. Remite, we really don't know when you'd be overdosing. So I wouldn't do that.
Okay, but you can definitely use Remite through your skin. And especially if you have a thyroid issue, you can put it directly on your neck where your thyroid is located and have a lot of good success with that. In addition to taking it systemically, you can use it topically. So there is that little benefit, yes.
So if you're on 3/4 of a teaspoon twice a day, you could start with a 1/4 teaspoon in your palm and then just slap it on your neck and then the rest of the half teaspoon, and then the 3/4 teaspoon later, just to get your total. So just measure it out to make sure you're just getting your 1.5 teaspoons a day.
Excellent. Very good. All right, let's go back to our phones. Area code 808. If you could *6, unmute yourself, and we'll bring you into the call. Hello, love.
Aloha, it's Ku'ule calling.
Hello, but it's 808 is Hawaii, but you're not in Hawaii, are you?
Correct, because I needed, I usually say better health care, just more specialists in order to get a hold of my health concerns. So I am in northern Wisconsin near Duluth, Minnesota, where I see my specialists. Mm-hmm. And I saw my endocrinologist last Thursday, and she said the Raynaud is working great, and so I am off the Armour Thyroid. Oh. Now, she's been trying to get me off of it for 2 years, but she worked me down to 5 milligrams. But each time I came off, after a short while, I felt like a rock in my throat. So, but she kept saying, I think it's working. Oh, she's a functional, all my doctors are functional medicine doctors. Mm-hmm. And so, so I said, okay, I'll go off it this time. So I've only been off it 5 days, but I'm feeling fine. No rocks in the throat.
Mm-hmm. But think, Kool-Aid, just think what we were just saying. You could take a bit of your Raynaud dose and just rub it on your neck, and it would go in, but also, it would alert the thyroid that you're really taking care. What do you think?
Well, I wrote that down because I said, hey, that's a great idea to put it right on there. And also from listening tonight, it sounds like I haven't been taking my Raynaud correctly, except for the fact that I've gotten it in me so that I'm not on Armour anymore. But I, started out with Raynaud when it came out, a teaspoon with that, a teaspoon of magnesium. And then when I was trying to get off of the Armour Thyroid, I increased it to 2 teaspoons of Raynaud and then 2 teaspoons of magnesium. Well, then I increased my Raynaud to a tablespoon, but I'm still doing 2 teaspoons of magnesium because I was getting that effect. And then I'm using the lotion, just a little bit every day, to kind of make up.
Yeah.
So
you're fine. I mean, I don't think so, because what's happening here, and this is important for people to hear, you're under the care of your holistic doctor, and they want you to get off the Armour, and they're monitoring you, and you're taking Raynaud in higher doses for a certain purpose. And I tend to, be cautious about Raynaud because it's got so many different minerals in it, but it is pretty specific for the thyroid. You are supporting the thyroid. You do need some extra. So what you'll find, you'll put some of that 1 tablespoon, you'll put directly on your neck, and maybe in a month or so, you'll start feeling a little bit hyper, and you'll say, oh my gosh, my hormones have really kicked in. I can cut back on Raynaud. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And that'll be great. One of my complaints that I was telling her about is I'm still hot. As a matter of fact, over here, it's snowing. I don't need a jacket most of the time, and they call me the hot Hawaiian. I think I told you that before.
Right.
So I'm still running pretty hot. But because I have so many other things going on with my body, I think the Remite, that I'm probably not overdoing it because it's helping me overall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Rather than just the thyroid.
Right. Now, with the heat, are you also sweating?
Yeah, at night. More so. Yeah, actually, I do during the day. So I have to dress light or put on a fan when I'm in a room.
Right. Now, I would think of that as the body trying to burn off toxins. I would think that the body's just trying to, keep things moving out. How much Realign are you taking? That's our detox.
Right. I'm on just about everything. I am taking only one a day. So when I heard the earlier caller talk about her hot flashes,
Right.
I said, okay, so I wrote down, 2 Realign. And my endocrinologist thinks the heat, she told me to double up on my quercetin because I have mast cell activation disorder. And so she has me on quercetin and some other stuff. And so I will definitely double up on the Realign, and with your nice discount this weekend, I got some more of the Realign, so that won't be any problem to double up on that.
Awesome. Okay, very good. Yeah.
Thank you. I have one question from her. I started on the Pico Potassium. I'm only doing a quarter teaspoon in the water mixture, and she asked me to find out what is the MEQ conversion. And in my notes, it says how many MIL.
Equivalents. Shoot. Milliequivalents of potassium, 100 milligrams. I might have to email you that.
Okay. I'll send. Okay. Yeah, I'll send you an email because she asked me to find that out from you. Because all my doctors, I have a team of 4 or 5 doctors, and they're all on board with your products that I'm taking. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Because what we have on the label, we didn't have to put milliequivalents. It's 99 milligrams per quarter teaspoon. And that's what the FDA wants to know what our one dose is. And they won't allow you to put more than 99 milligrams in a dose. But people, diet-wise, the RDA, people need 4,700 milligrams. So it's a huge amount. And so I say to people, you might need a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons to make up for what you're not getting in your diet. So,
Yeah. I emphasize to them that all the products, are Pico this and Pico that, and that I wouldn't, because they usually say, shouldn't you have more of this or that? And I tell them it's Pico metered, but and they say, okay.
You baffle them with your wisdom. But yes, it's what you say. It's fully absorbed, where other nutrients are only very partially absorbed. But I guess doctors deal in milliequivalents, but it's not something that, as I said, we do in natural medicine. So I'll have to do a little bit of research, see what that is. Okay, you're good?
Oh, yes, I am. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Good hearing from you. You sound great.
Thanks. That's because of someone's good products.
That's awesome. Okay. Thank you, Kool-Aid.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Yeah, that's very gratifying. Where did it go? Hold on. Where am I? There I am.
Yay.
Yay! I was saying that, and here's another good thing that she said is that it took 2 years. Not that it takes everybody 2 years, but I mean, you have to work with the body. You don't just take a product for a week and say, "Oh, that didn't work." You really have to work with your body. And she has been very faithful. I've talked, for many years.
Yeah.
And she's done all the right things, and it's worth it because that just extends her life. I mean, the longevity thing is so important. I think people are really realizing that they could live much longer than they thought they were.
Right. Yes. And I'm so appreciative of her doctors, working with her and not just saying, well, you've got these and she does have, several chronic conditions. And most doctors just say, well, we're too busy to deal with that. But they're hanging in there. She's hanging in there. The formulas are helping. And she started out with the Remag and realized how much that was helping. And then she slowly added most of the rest of them, it sounds like. So, yes, that's what it takes. It's knowing that you're on the right track and you're feeling, somewhat better, and you can feel even better. So it's just wonderful.
I think the thing that's so frustrating, I have read that the thyroid issues are really midlife, 45 plus years older, a lot of them women. You've written the article before, Carolyn, and we've talked about it before. Every pregnancy, depletes the thyroid. So you have women in their childbearing years who really do deplete their thyroid if they're not properly supplementing. And maybe you could talk about that for a minute. And then they get to midlife and they get this huge crash in their body combined with menopause. And then the weight gain starts, and it's just so hard to get those pounds off.
It is. Yes. And you're talking about this now, and it's hard for me to decide what do I do, open up my total body reset for the thyroid, or do I go to the Total Body Meltdown book? Because what you're describing is the total body meltdown that people go through. Or there's in the Raynaud book, we talk about the 4 hormones of the apocalypse. And that's where all the hormones get together and just, they just put pressure on the body. They want to be supported. They want more. And when they aren't supported, they will just crash. So, there's all these ways of looking at the body, but they really do all end up with the basis of mineral deficiency and yeast overgrowth. That's as basic as I can make it. And I think it's helpful for people to know that, well, you don't have a thyroid problem, you have a mineral deficiency problem. You've been told you have a disease or dis-ease, but really you have either yeast overgrowth or a mineral deficiency. I mean, do you think, does that make sense to people? Do they feel better when we define it that way, Ginny?
I think it's easy. I mean, I do love that part. I think that's very good. And once you get through the mineral deficiency part, then you've got to deal with that yeast overgrowth. And of course, one of the most challenging things is doing that elimination diet. I'm doing it right now. I'm a week in it of being off of dairy, sugar, wheat. And even though, we've got the Flora Revive and everything, and of course it's all working out beautifully, but that is a big commitment to a lifestyle change for sure.
Right. And I periodically, while I do intermittent fasting where, if I feel that I want to, I don't eat until 2 o'clock. And I think that's helpful, but I must keep reminding people that if you're doing intermittent fasting or the keto diet, you are not going to get enough fiber. Let's just say that outright. You're not going to get enough fiber. And so one of your meals in the morning has to be psyllium seed powder. There's just no other way around it. You're not getting the fiber from grains. You're not getting the fiber from a bunch of carbohydrate vegetables. So that means your intestines aren't getting scoured out properly. I predict that people on the keto diet are going to have an increase in diverticulitis as their little pouches in the intestines don't get scrubbed out with fiber. They will start to build up matter in the little pouches and start to get inflamed. So you have to increase your fiber. And when I go through the weight book, I'm going to make sure I mention that, or I make a big deal of that. You have to get more fiber.
Yeah, that's very good. And if you take the fiber and you add it to the restructure,
Yeah.
and you make that into a shake with some almond milk, that still keeps it keto and it helps. That's what I've been doing. And that definitely helps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Because, the fiber is kind of gelatinous. So it'll be, part of the thickness of your smoothie. I wonder if I could, I get my restructure when I mash it up with a few frozen berries. I wonder if I could put psyllium in that. I'll have to check that out. Okay.
Yeah, Gregory Mark does that every morning. He, without exception or fail, restructure and psyllium every morning.
Okay. And, right, the reader. What was I going to say? Forget now. Okay, I'm good.
Okay.
Onward. Oh my gosh, look, we've only got a couple of minutes. Do you want me to go through a couple of Instagram testimonials?
Yes, because I heard you've got some awesome ones.
Oh, the Instagram people are so cute with all their emojis. Thank you, Dr. Dean, and all the wonderful people at RNA Reset. Your products and support are the gift of a happy, healthier life. Next one, thank you for having our back and forehead. We tell people that. We got your back and we got your forehead because we give you words. We give you information. We're not just going to pat you on the back and say, oh, we'll take care of you. No, we put that information in your very own head. And the next one, and thank you so much for all you do. Thank you so much. My life has changed because of you, Remag, and your potassium. Longest length of time in 10 years without an AFib attack. Tears of joy and gratitude. That is so sweet. And these are unsolicited. These emails, people just are brimming with joy. And one more, I have more, but I'm just going to do the 5. Thank you guys for providing excellent support and customer service. I will never forget the dark times I've been through this year, and you guys joyfully always answered all my questions and concerns and still gave me more than I could ask for. Thank you, Dr. Carolyn Dean, and your incredible team. God bless you. Wow. Yay. Yay.
Yay. Yay.
The end.
Oh, the end? Oh, wow. That was fast. I thought there were more. That's funny. All right. Well, I can say one. Dear Dr. Dean. No, I'm just teasing.
No, I do have more, Ginny, but I'm going to save them because I wanted to give you your 1 minute at the end.
Oh, I see. If we're going to savor the flavor. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, our beautiful, beautiful Elma, who's in Kuwait, said, I want to say that since I've used your products, it has changed my life. And that's coming all the way from around the world to you and with a big fat mwah attached to it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Alma. We do appreciate you and you being, I mean, let me look up what time is it in Kuwait, for Pete's sake?
I think it's like 3 a.m. or something nutty. She stays up to listen to the show live and be on YouTube with us. It's so much fun. She's such a doll.
Yeah, it's 5 a.m. over there. So 2 hours ago, 3 a.m. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Sweetheart.
So,
all right, everybody, we're wrapping it up. Bless you.
Wrapping it up.
Thank you, Dr. Dean. You're awesome.
Thank you. Awesome. Very good. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Ginny.
Thank you, everybody.
You've been listening to the Dr. Carolyn Dean live radio show. For questions about today's broadcast, email Dr. Dean at questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com. That's questions@drcarolyndeanlive.com.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe.